January 24th, 1969, the Beatles are in the Apple basement studio working on songs for the Get Back project. One of the songs they're working on that day is the song Two of Us. And the first few times they run through that number that day, it is still that rock and roll version of it, like we saw them do it over at Twickenham. Now, I have no idea if Paul meant it to be a rock and roll number initially. I have no idea. But we do know that he most likely wrote it on his acoustic, because he shows it to them on an acoustic, on the very first day that they're there, I think January 2nd. Paul's on his acoustic, showing it to John George's Ringo. And we also know that Paul wrote it after spending the day with Linda Eastman, just driving around, getting lost, no real destination in mind. Linda suggested, hey, Paul, let's try this road over here. Let's go over here. It really doesn't matter, Paul. Really doesn't matter which road we take, just so long as we're together. Now, this is what she and her family did as a kid. And evidently she loved it, wanted to share that with Paul. And that's the beauty of the song Two of Us. Okay, the Two of Us, it sort of feels like it's going someplace, but it really doesn't go any place in particular. It is all about spending time with somebody, and it could be anybody. Could be a family member, could be brother, sister, your mom, your dad, could be your partner, your loved one, a friend, or your dog. It could be just anybody. Because what Two of Us, in my opinion, it's all about just that moment. Whatever it is that you're doing, that warmth and intimacy of this person that you really care about, and, the special times that you share together, and the memories that you had, the memories that you're going to make, but most of all, like that moment, burning matches and lifting latches, okay? And it doesn't matter. I think it just, see, these lyrics, they don't necessarily mean anything. To me, they're poetry, and they have that vibe. And this is what's missing, there at Twickenham. And it's missing there, initially at the Apple basement studio. And then John notices it. And John, after they'd been working on it, with the rock and roll version of it, he's kind of saying, I don't know, man. It's just the lyrics and the words are just getting lost here because it's all electric, and they're in that, warm, intimate basement studio. So the whole vibe is different now. And, the ceilings are lower, they're closer together, they're at home now, and they can just kind of relax. So the vibe of Two of Us matches the vibe of the Apple basement studio a lot more. And John is probably feeling that. Probably looking at the lyrics and saying, hey, man, this is poetry. This is beautiful. We're not doing it justice here. Now, who knows? Paul Pauly said, okay, this is a great song. It's a rock and roll. It just doesn't matter. Now, because he's close to it. An artist sometimes when they are close to their work, they really can't see it for what it really is. Sometimes you need to take, have somebody else kind of step back and say, hey, man, this is fantastic. We're not doing it justice. And this is what John was doing that day. John was saying, we're not doing Two of Us justice. Okay, so he kind of wanted a softer, quieter feel to it. Where is the feel of the song? So they're workshopping it. He did bring up Stevie Wonder, and so they kind of did a hybrid version of it with all the electric, a little bit quieter. Ringo's still kind of rocky, but it's quieter. And John starts singing, like in a Stevie Wonder voice. And he does that a couple times. Okay, and George had been a little bit stiff on that guitar riff. He'd kind of sort of there. He had it. Okay, he had that riff that we hear, in the end version of Two of Us, but it's more stiff. It's more rocky. Okay, and he's still kind of like that with this slowed down, this hybrid version of Two of Us. And it's still not quite right. Still not quite right. Okay, and Ringo's still got the rock and roll beat, still on the electric guitars. And then John, so still not satisfied. And he starts talking to Paul about it. He says, what did you think this was going to be? What did you envision the backing on this thing? Okay, because they're all electric right now. And John is obviously not happy with it. So John is going someplace here, and he's trying to get Paul to go with him, okay, to a different place. He's saying, this is, I don't like this Two of Us. Let's go to this Two of Us over here. So he's saying, okay, Paul, what are we thinking here? Well, Paul was kind of saying, I was just thinking this was like a nice little rock and roll song. Well, was Paul thinking it was going to be like a rock and roll song, or was he thinking it was just going to be a little rock and roll song? Evidently, John is like, I just want it to be a little rock and roll song. And so they start going back and forth a little bit of it and start thinking, well, maybe acoustic or something, who knows? And, they had kind of run through Words of Love earlier, like a Buddy Holly song. So maybe they had that in the back of their minds too. So they want a softer version of it, but still kind of a rocky version of it. So Paul brings up like Peggy Sue. And all of a sudden Ringo starts doing, not all of a sudden, but I think after a minute, Ringo starts doing the Peggy Sue drumming. And John had grabbed a hold of George's acoustic, but Ringo just does the drumming there for a little bit, for a minute or so. He's just doing that, and they're still kind of talking. George is kind of working out that melodic guitar thing, okay? And they decided they weren't going to do bass. I think they were almost there. They weren't quite there. They weren't sure about they were going to do bass, so George is just doing kind of a hybrid version of it. It wasn't quite what it was, but it was deeper sounding. And it was more melodic. And he was locking in with Ringo's drumming, just kind of going with getting into it. Okay, so the two of them are just going back, just the two of them, right off the way. And then all of a sudden, you hear the acoustic, John's acoustic, or George's guitar, but John's on it. So it sounded kind of cool. I don't know what Paul's doing. Paul's probably just sitting there listening. And all of a sudden, John starts singing. You and me Sunday driving, not arriving on our way back home. And right there, it turns into Two of Us. Now, this is on the Nagra tapes. We see a version of it here in Get Back, which I still love. I think I love it as much. Some of it, when we see Paul conjure Get Back, that's a magical, like spine-tingling moment right there. But I really loved hearing this on the Nagra tapes. I would love to see them do that and have it just appear, because it just feels so, it has a different feel. It has like a more enchanting, magical feel, because it's the three of them working on, or excuse me, all four of them, coming up with Two of Us. The real Two of Us. It's like unleashing it. It's like they're revealing it, quite frankly, okay? Because it was kind of buried. The poetry was buried. The warmth was buried. It wasn't really intimate, okay? It just wasn't it. But John was just peeling back the layers, and all of a sudden we have Two of Us here. This is why it's one of my very favorite Beatles songs, because now it has that warmth and that intimacy, the warmth of Ringo's drumming, George's melodic guitar, and the acoustics. The two acoustics going. And then the John and Paul harmonies. They're the Everly Brothers, aren't they, doing that? There's just something magical and beautiful and warm and satisfying about Two of Us. And John, Paul, George, and Ringo could be right here in my living room singing this song to me. It's got that intimate vibe to it. Or maybe we could just be singing it in a coffee shop with me and a bunch of friends. It's like we can connect with that. That's the beauty of Two of Us. And we see it there on the 31st. They do it just like that in the basement studio. Very relaxed, very casual, no big deal. It's like the four of them just doing it live. Just has that easygoing feel. It's that song that feels like it's going someplace, but not really. It's all about, that moment. It's all about the feel. This is probably how Paul was feeling, okay? But that feeling just kind of got lost along the way until they found it again. In that basement studio, John just kind of having the luxury of it not being his song and being able to look at it objectively. John probably really loved the song, probably saw the poetry there and said, nah, this ain't it, man. It's not a rocker, okay? It's not a rocker. This is what it is, Paul. This is Two of Us. The song really does have its own really interesting journey all throughout January. And, I know it's Get Back. I know it's the Get Back project, and I know that's like the lead song, but I don't know. There's something special about Two of Us's journey. I think it speaks more to the band and the group and the dynamics and the magic of them working together, and because it is a very Beatley song. I think it's more Beatley than Get Back. Maybe we should call it the Two of Us Project. Who knows? Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really and truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace and love one another. Take care.
Beatles is Beatles are Beatle. In the end, it's like, oh, sod off with the Beatles,